Hello and welcome to Storm Chaser, a life story of an unusual man. This is episode 33, Sons and I, part 2. My name is John and I'm from Anaheim, California. In my past episode, I have shared with you about the first 4 years of my fatherhood. I felt like it was just a flash in time. It went by so quickly, in my opinion. But as someone once said, time waits for no one. So life went on. Since my wife and I heard and agreed that music is good for a child's brain development, we enrolled our oldest son in the music school to learn about music theories, ear training, and keyboard playing at the age of 4. He seems to enjoy the activities and progressed in it nicely. Then, of course, 2 years later, the younger one followed suit. No, not he himself followed suit. It was the parents' choice. Our son didn't have any choice since they were so young, right? So soon I became the one who was responsible for our son's music development and growth. At the age of 6, our son started taking private piano lessons. They are like twins. I love every moment I had guided them along the way. In the meantime, at the church front, naturally, our son was exposed to singing and worshiping. I'm sure some of you being parents love to see your kids on stage in those special music performances, right? We were no exception. We loved it. I remember they had a name for this group of pre-K kids. They were called Choo Choo Train. So cute. What time is it? It's kindergarten time. Where should we send our son to school? That was a huge question with many small questions in it. We knew kindergarten will only last a couple of years, and then our son will have to go to first grade. But did we want to send them to public school for their first grade and let them stay there in the public school system until they graduate from high school? See, at that time, we didn't think that we could afford private school for both of them all the way through high school. But then I felt that our son should go to a public high school eventually and let him experience the real life environment before they get to college. However, as I have shared in one of the previous episodes, that I used to work in a public high school. I had seen many bad influences a young man can get in those environments. I was concerned about my sons being exposed to him. So I had a dilemma there. After discussing with my wife at that time, we thought the best way was to build a good moral foundation when our sons were really young. We would equip them with godly principles before they enter into the public school system. Therefore, we found a private school, a Christian private school. that offer education from kindergarten to junior high. After much processes, we enrolled our two sons in this Christian school starting from kindergarten and on. So education plans were set and rolling right along. In that period of time, we were pretty strapped financially because having to pay for private school, we had to pinch pennies to save money with the sole intention to provide a good education to our sons. I also was constantly looking out for better opportunity to advance my career. In other words, making more money. Opportunity did come, and I took it. Little did I know that was the last company I've ever worked for. I believe it was 1998. I took on a new serving position at the church that I was not really expecting. For that, I must bring the story back to our sons. First, let me tell you a story. When our sons were about 8 years old or so, we had connected with a professional boys' choir. We were told kids in that choir would not only get to learn to sing properly, but they would be trained in self-discipline as well. It sounded so good to us and our kids. So of course we signed our sons up. It was one of those best decisions we've ever made. However, the facility was about 30 miles from where we used to live. And they had about 2 practices every week. And that's not including the performance during the weeknights and weekends. You can imagine, right? Our schedule were pretty crazy between school, piano, and boys' choir. When our sons were in the boys' choir, instead of just dropping them off and I went shopping, I would stay there and watch them rehearse and practice. In the course of doing so, I had picked up some of the techniques in how the boys were trained vocally and in self-discipline. About the same time, our church children's choir director was leaving. So the post was vacant. I thought to myself, what a great opportunity. If I were to take on this position, I would have more opportunities to be with my sons. I thought that would be awesome, right? So I did it. I took on the children's choir director's position, responsible only for the kids from first grade on. I began to implement similar system I learned from the boys' choir into our children's choir. I named them Kids of Christ. It was a lot of hard work. Thank God that I had a very nice assistant to help me with the administrative and other stuff. I just focused on the training, disciplining, and programming. We didn't just perform within the church, we also went out to those convalescent homes to sing as well. Soon after Kids Who Cries have been established, we form a voice a cappella group out of the children's choir. Guess who were part of this group? Well, you guessed it right, my two sons. The whole experience was challenging, but very rewarding. I did that for about 3 to 4 years. During that period of my life between school, piano lessons, boys' choir, and Kids Who Cries, I was really involved with my son's life. Life was full of excitement for me. Thinking back, I did all that just to fulfill my own promise that I would always be there for my sons and will never make him feel abandoned like how I felt when I was growing up. So far, so good. Well, I hope this episode gave you a glimpse of what I've done just so I can spend more time being with my sons. I feel some of those things were unique or unusual, especially being a children's choir director, and formed this voice a cappella group. But that's not all that I've done. I have more story to share with you in my next episode. So stay tuned, okay? As I reflect on this episode of Storm Chaser, I have the following thoughts and comment. So this episode contains life my sons and I, between their ages of 4 through, let's say, 11. During that time, my son have grown physically, academically, socially, and spiritually. I was grateful for all that I was able to provide for my sons. Although life was hectic at times, but I managed to hang on to my sanity. I was able to do all those things, including taking a risk in changing jobs. I was quite proud of myself and my sons. Everything appears to be okay. So look, I just want to be transparent and be real with you. When all is said and done, I feel like I have missed the mark. Why do I say that? It's because I didn't really seek God wholeheartedly on most of the decisions that I've made. I relied on my own wisdom and strength in making things happen. Not until much later in my Christian walk, I realized all the events happened in my sons in my life were not because of my own will and abilities. It was all because God's grace and mercies towards me and my family. God gave me 2 musically gifted sons and the opportunities to spend and enjoy memorable music times together at their early age. It was God who gave me the wisdom to decide how to plan my son's education. But no matter effect. It is God has already paved the path for my son's education before I even thought about it. God opened the door graciously for me to join a growing company at the time I needed financial stability. God continued to bless me with career advancement within the company throughout my 26 years of service there. Again, looking back, I'm amazed how God prepared me to become the children's choir director and be able to inspire not just my sons, but other kids in worshiping the Lord. All that was because God loves me. And I am forever grateful for such precious memories. So, in my next episode, Lord's willing, I will share with you one more sort of unusual thing that I've done. Oh yeah, the question posed last episode has not been answered yet. Remember what the question was? It was, would I really be able to keep my own promise for the entire 18 years of my son's lives? Maybe, maybe not. Keep following this channel to hear more story about this unusual man. Well, this concludes part 2 of the series entitled Sons and I. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell icon so you won't miss any future episode. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and give comment if you like. My time is up, and I thank you for watching. Be blessed. Until next episode, Storm Chaser out.